Good afternoon, Durgesh. A warm welcome to you on behalf of APAC News Network. Very briefly, APAC News is a media organization headquartered out of Noida, and we have presence across India and outside India in Dubai, Malaysia, and Singapore. So, primarily, the discussion points that we would like to talk today are one in terms of the WebWorks infrastructure that is currently you have. What are the solutions and services that you are offering in the portfolio? How has the workload that are being used by your enterprise customers changed post pandemic? And we will talk about your partner network, channel ecosystem, your go-to-market strategy. So maybe the best way to start would be if you can give us an update on the current infrastructure that WebWorks has in terms of number of data centers, sizes, facilities, etc. Thank you.
Sure, Rajneesh. So let me thank APAC News Network for inviting me for this chat and dialogue with you, Rajneesh. Thank you very much. So to give a perspective about WebWorks, so before we go to the infrastructure and all, it's very important to know how the company has started. So company was basically it's a first generation entrepreneur company. Started way back around two decades back in one bedroom apartment with just $30 in the pocket, right? It started something of a web hosting company, and later on it went on to host more than 50,000 web pages and all. And from there it's transformed into setting up data centers in key cities of Mumbai and Noida, and still expanding. So that's a short brief of the company WebWorks. And when you talk about the infrastructure, it's very important to note about that the infrastructure of WebWorks as of now comprises, of course, of the brick and mortar, which is basically the data center building itself, and one of the most densely populated exchanges that its host. Coming to the brick and mortar part of it, wherein we host various services from various services of enterprise, hyperscalers, and retail customers. So we have uh, data centers in key financial market of Mumbai, right, and Delhi NCR and Pune currently. These are three locations that currently we host our data centers, where we give to our customers both co-location as well as cloud services as well as managed services facilities. And as we talk, these are very robust as well as scalable and well-connected data centers, right? So apart from this, we'd also like to bring on table the relationship, the strategic partnership that you might have heard of with Iron Mountain. So we entered into a strategic partnership with Iron Mountain, which is a globally known data center company with a 4 billion turnover and 14 billion market capitalization, Nasdaq listed company, and they globally operate data centers across 16 countries. And with now WebWorks adding to it, so we have our customers have access to more than 18 plus data centers pan India, including US, APAC, and Europe of Iron Mountain. So this is the scale which we are talking of, and this is the infrastructure which we are talking of, and accessibility that WebWorks will have going forward. Rajneesh. So apart
Thank
from
you. Yeah. Yeah, so this is broadly the infrastructure. If we can elaborate on, you mentioned about the services in terms of the cloud, the colo, as well as the managed services. So if you can elaborate on these service offerings and what sort of organizations or enterprises are availing of these services.
We have a extensive range of co-location and cloud services that we offer, right? So if we talk about, let's say, co-location, it's a space and power thing that we provide to the customers, which we are hosting. On the cloud front, we deal with the host of services in the cloud also, like it's be a private cloud, it be a public cloud, It's a virtual platform. It's a multi-cloud or cloud on basically either you access the cloud in direct. We have multi-cloud. We can offer either through a direct route and express route. So customer tend to get a flavor of all the offerings that we have under the cloud umbrella. We also give managed services, which is basically once the customer is into the premises, the servers and all needs to be managed. So we also have that facility wherein our technical superiority is there, technical supervisors are there, and remote hand support services are there, which we provide to the customers in case they require all those. Apart from this, like we have range of customers. Like we actually cater to enterprise also. We cater to retail also, few hyperscalers, and government clients also are there. So specifically coming to the government clients and all, so it's bespoke model of cloud that we offer to them. It because government, as per the government norms, you need to have a government cloud community that needs to be built. We have all those across all three locations of Mumbai, Pune, and Noida. We offer that based on the requirement which the government tender has, and it's also a scalable thing that is there, right? And on the top of it, these all services, of course, are very secure and robust as far as the offerings from WebWorks are concerned.
Okay, so now taking each of these, say the colo. Colo, in terms of what we have seen is in terms of as a service offering and its economic viability for a data center provider, there's not much in terms of business margins, and it's more a commoditized kind of service offerings. Whereas, if we may say, the real margins or the more productive businesses are coming from the managed services part and to an extent from the cloud services part. So, overall, how do you balance your portfolio between these different kind of services, especially in terms of the bottom line?
So, so as you rightly said, like there are services like Colo is there, Cloud is there, managed services there. In managed services, you expect a margin to be much higher, but actually it's something like that. Let's say a particular customer is there. He comes onto the data center. He has put on their racks and put on their servers, and we charge for us we charge for the space from them, right? But if they require something like a managed services kind of thing, so it's a top up of the services, right? So we provide that services also, and we make a margin on an overall perspective. Like we are giving a hosting services for this racks and servers. We are also managing those servers by providing remote hand support and all. If that customer wants to create its own cloud, let's say, right, we help them to we help them to host that also. It can be in the form of private cloud. If he wants to host this server on our public cloud, we provide those services also. So it depends upon customer what kind of services they are catering to, and we try to balance the portfolio based on the customer demand, right? Whatever customers is there, whatever customer is asking as a solution, we work very closely with them and try to give a comprehensive and integrated solution to them, so that customer is also happy and our margin is also intact.
Okay. Now, coming to more of the current situation, post-pandemic, what we have seen is specifically, obviously, many of the enterprises, there has been a perceptible shift towards cloud, migrating more and more applications toward cloud. So while that meant an increase in the cloud business, cloud services business per se, in terms of the pattern of workloads, that has also changed. So, how would you assess the impact overall, especially on the cloud business?
So basically, you're on the spot. Like the pandemic has actually triggered the way actually it has doubled or quadrupled the digital transformation, right? The enterprise customers who were actually hosting their servers on-prem. Okay, so once the lockdown all happened, everything was not accessible, and there in data center industry as an unsung hero basically was there to help them out, right? So there were many things that on the data center front we have done. The requirement of the client, like migration of the client to the data center from on-prem to the data center, was done. So, and data center was categorized as essential services when the pandemic has happened, and the requirement of on-prem to moving on to the cloud has actually increased post the pandemic. It has changed. It has seen a tremendous exponential, I'll say exponential growth there, and client are actually trying to move from the on-prem to the data center business because it's an ease for them, right? For each and every client, on-prem management of servers is not very easy, right? So they want to move it to the data center people where the skill is there, the technical expertise is there, and you know that there's 24/7 surveillance, the security is there where you can manage it. And if let's say if any requirement is there in terms of remote and services, managed services, or bandwidth on demand, all can be met from the data center itself. So it's basically an integration of entire services coming at one point, and you have a single point of contact. So they have seen the enterprise has experienced these changes during the pandemic time, and they feel it's more comfortable, more viable, and it will act. And managing of infrastructure as far as their as data is concerned, they now are starting to rely more on the data center folks. So there's a tremendous shift. I think this will continue, right? Right, because currently now earlier big clients were seeing this shift to be quite a like it's something like data moving out of their premises and all, but now they understood, the government also well understands, the big retail or investor enterprise clients also understands that the key focus is running their business and not managing the servers or data that they have. So it's best for data center guys to handle it. Hence, we are seeing the growth, and everybody is talking about data centers industry per se.
So, before I come to the next question, I first like to understand, you mentioned about government. If I may say, if we look at vertically, so how is the traction amongst clients from different verticals? Which will be your top three, four verticals, maybe?
So, like digitization is actually playing a role across industry, right? So now, as far as government is concerned, government has come out of the GEM portal. So all the requirement of the IT related, like smart cities and all, are coming on the GEM portal for the government. So you go through the scan through the RFPs and all. Most of the cities wherein government is launching the smart solutions. So therein we work with various system integrators, right? So they take the pie of the contract, and there's a cloud service provider which is there. There's managed service provider which is there. So we engage with them and work with them to get the pie of this business. So government traction is quite huge. Now, government is also moving in this direction, and enterprise, of course, as I said, like the big enterprises, or if I'll say the financial segment, they're also moving into it. Like, let's say a simple transactions of, you use an app, right? So you use an app of mobile banking app or something to transfer the money. So everything is data, nothing else. Somewhere it needs to be stored. Okay, it can be on-prem for the customers, or it can be a data center location. On-prem will require a huge cost, huge maintenance cost. That's not the key business of the enterprises. So it's better for the data center guys. They come to the data center guys. They ask for the solution. We provide the solutions and give them the hosting and managed services solution, and they start running on this. And this is more so. This will expand only because now you see that people are using more of data. It can be in a form of digital payments, or using financial transactions, or listening to music, videos, and also everything. There's something in the back end, the brick and mortar house which actually houses that data there in the servers and all, with a good connectivity. So all these things are working towards the growth in this particular industry only, I feel. And vertical, if you say all the verticals are growing, if government, whether it's government, enterprise, and hyperscaler, of course, are on the top of it. So each and every enterprise now started looking at data center as a very secure solutions for managing the data needs.
Okay. So now coming to the be it government or be it the financial institutions that you mentioned, many of these organizations are regulated by a lot of these compliances, and some of these compliances are multi-geography also because the business spans across geographies. And especially considering that significant amount of their data and infrastructure are hosted in your data centers, how do you ensure helping in these multi compliances for many of your enterprise clients?
So you're right. So basically, let's say our data centers are basically enterprise grade certified. So there are various certifications which are required. So for running the enterprise or the PFSI segment to be compliant with those. So those compliance checks are already in place because if you don't have those, the customers won't come to you. So it's a very stringent rules and regulations which are there. This is first part. Secondly, on the government part, as I spoke, right? So government, if you want to host a government cloud into your data center, so there is a government GCC which you need to have a GCC cloud as a government community cloud that you need to create there, right? Wherein the government enterprises which are coming there can host their cloud. There in the cloud platform can be hosted. So we comply with all those, and these are very stringent. And until unless you do this, you won't be able to serve any customers. So all our tier three data centers are compliant with the either for the from the BSI perspective or the enterprise grade certified.
Okay. Another critical aspect has been the security. How do you ensure the security of all the critical data hosted by either the government organizations or the enterprises? That's a security. And another challenge is many of the organizations are now increasingly having a multi-cloud kind of environment where they will have multiple cloud service providers. So, how do you sort of manage for these enterprises in this multi-cloud kind of scenario?
So as the enterprise has variety of needs as of now, right? And they can use multiple cloud service providers. So in WebWorks, we provide a single management pane. It's a pane, a frame for the clients to see what kind of services they are taking, how we are providing that, and which kind of cloud service operators which we have. So it can we have cloud integration with the partner. It can be either through direct route or express route. That's what we do. Secondly, on the security front, so security is not just a management or access for us, right? So we provide security as a solution. It's a complete encrypted solution wherein we provide storage also, transit, processing, and consumption. So it's an end-to-end thing from the security perspective that we provide to the customers. So when customers comes to our data centers, they are not at all bothered. They know that they're in the safe hands, and and data integrity is well secured because of the encryption and because of the commitment that the webhooks provide.
Okay. So now the very important question from a WebWorks perspective is what sort of go-to-market strategy you follow? What are the go-to-market initiatives that you have implemented, and how do you look at acquiring new customers?
As I spoke about Iron Mountain, like we had a strategic partnership with Iron Mountain. We announced that in early part of this year. So Iron Mountain is a globally listed company, and it has access to 2,25,000 clients, and 95% of its clients are Fortune 1000 clients, right? And they have data centers, co-location centers, even including underground across US, APAC, and Europe. So you can imagine the scale that they bring to the table, right? Lot of customers and global customers are already their clients, so that accessibility is already there. Coming back to the strategy, that go-to-market strategy that we have, so we are planning actually to access all the tier one towns. So we are all the metros will be covered in the first phase, like key markets like Mumbai, Delhi NCR, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai. So all these markets we are covering as a core site. We'll open our core sites there in the first phase, the next 12 to 18 months. Thereafter, we will also focus on we call it micro. It's a edge kind of strategy, which will move in closer to the customers with tier two cities, key tier two cities. So we have a plan of doing around 10 to 22 cities as far as edge is concerned. And this is from a overall site infra perspective. So, and secondly, will also be we have enterprise certified data centers wherein we will with all the compliances that a BFSI or a financial institution asks. So we will be targeting those clients with those. We'll also be approaching big clients, hyperscalers, OTT with a kind of build to suit kind of model that we have. And on the cloud front, also we'll have a SAP certified cloud structure. We'll have a bespoke model for all the entrepreneurs, all the enterprise clients for the from the as far as cloud is concerned. We already have a GCC, government community cloud within our data centers. So we'll also focus on that. Apart from this, these are all business fundamentals that will focus on bringing sales to the table. Apart from this, there is one more thing which the overall industry is focusing on is around the sustainability part of it, right? Because data center per se uses a lot of energy, a lot of power, and there's a lot of focus on the renewable power. So we intend, or will try hard to get the most energy efficient equipments with us and use renewable power as much as possible. So Iron Mountain has already signed on to COP26 thing, and they already have a green power pass with them. So we'll try to learn from them and adopt some of the strategies which they follow and implement those.
And how about you looked at, again, especially relevant in the last 1.5 years during the pandemic? How do you balance between retaining the existing customers by maybe deepening the engagement of the current portfolio and balance this with acquiring new customers? So, how do you balance between the two?
Exactly. So we have a full Salesforce team, and it's all gearing up. We have engagement at all levels with the clients. So existing clients, either we engage with the clients, hence we get more business from the existing clients, and for new clients, we already have a different setup wherein the engagement is happening with them, whether it be government focus, enterprise focus. So we have verticals which look at those clients. We have a model wherein we have a PSS who work on there's a sales team which brings opportunity on the table. Then there's a solution developer within the company who develop the solution, work closely with the client, and work with them to understand the issues, and then develop the solutions, and then get back to them with the most economical or most economical rates that the client can afford. So that deep engagement is already there with the existing customers. From them we also get repeat business, so that is there. And for new age customers, or let's say hyperscalers or new enterprise, we have a team which focuses on that, and that is driven at the highest level and reviewed at the highest level. So we have all those infrastructure and manpower in place to coordinate with the clients. We also leverage relationship with our global partners, global strategic partners like Iron Mountain and all. Apart from this, we also have a strategy of channel partner. We work closely with the channel partners, right? So whatever they bring to the table, we understand. We understand the requirement. We work on those. We try to rationalize those requirements, and get back to the customer with the best possible solution. So we it is both direct as well as through the partnership.
So this channel partner network you're calling, if you can elaborate on what is exactly is the how exactly is this channel partner network structured? How many partners are there, and what sort of services you are basically selling through these channel partners?
So we have channel partners, not many, but we since the business will now grow many folds, we are working very closely with them, and good names are there. So how it works, Rajneesh, is basically it's the same services that we are selling. It's something like if we have a product and service like Colo is there, cloud is there, managed services there, private cloud, public cloud. So we have those kind of host of suite of services which is there, right? So the same services is what we sell to the channel partner. Is just that we are it's a basically our selling arm, you can say. And whatever business they bring in, they charge something for it. Correct. So it's just an extension of our sales arm, you can say.
Also, just going back to some of your main verticals, the government, the hyperscalers, as well as the financial, which are some of the marquee customers whose name can be shared.
So customer per se, release names will be unable to share those names as of now, but there are clients across the verticals, like as I said, from the government as well as enterprise. Uh, so we have those clients. So that can easily be those clients are there because for a reason, right? So we host exchange. It's a densely populated exchange that we have. We host three exchanges. Like we have Nixie is there, Internet Exchange is there, DickX is there. So these are very critical network infrastructure that we provide, which actually entice the clients to come and connect with us at our data centers.
Okay. And in terms of this is understanding within, since you mentioned such a big connect with the government, typically for these government customers, what is the nature of the conversation? Sometimes government might not have a CTO or a CIO per se. So, how tech savvy are these organizations, and how is the conversation with these government enterprises? And why I was trying to understand the clients, I was trying to understand, is it more in terms of the smart cities or the ministries or the departments, or is it more the PSUs, who are your customers from the government side?
So it's a mix of both. Government is less, and PSUs. So it's a mix of both. I will say 50-50%. But I will tell you the process. Like it's not that they don't have CIOs or ITUs, because there's a complete IT department which is there, right? If you see any of their RFPs, it's quite detailed. The entire BOQ that they define there is listed out. It can run into pages, and you need to spend if you go through a big RFP and all, you need to spend at least a week, 10 days to just understand, getting clarification from the government folks, like what exactly it is, what do you want here, is the solution, can we give some other solution, is this all viable? So all back and forth happens, takes a lot of time and effort, by our sales and product folks for designing all those. And as far as government and PSUs are concerned, they have a robust IT department to deal with all the RFPs with the and with the vendors like us.
Uh, Another, the impression that used to be there earlier, obviously things are changing, but to some extent that for a data center player, ultimately what they're involved is in a huge amount of real estate and maybe working with you talked about sustainability part, the different power suppliers and the chillers and the cooling. Beyond that, ultimately that's the rationale of a data center player. How have things changed, and what's the fundamental principle on which the data center providers like you are working currently?
So, so let me clarify. So, not a pure real estate business, right? So, data center, you can say is a technical building, but if I compare with the real estate is a land, it's a building, right? So, land and building comprises of 70-80% of the cost of real estate. And what you call passive infrastructure or the MEP is just 10-15%. Here the total flip is there. Here, while building the data center, the cost of MEP is 70-80%, right? And balance land and building comprises is just a small portion of that. So it's not pure data center is a technical building and requires a lot of effort to manage those MEP, what we call in a general terms in data centers, and that is a pure electrical, mechanical, electromechanical infrastructure that is set up, chillers, PACs, the DG sets, and backend and UPSs, PDUs. Lot of things are there which go into making all those. And of course, power is of course essential because power anyway you have somewhere you need to set up a small GIS also, wherein small substation is set. If you're making a huge data center for hyperscalers and all, you need to have a lot of power. Like it can go up from 30-40 megawatts to 100 megawatts data center, 200 megawatt data center. So therein you need to set up your own GIS or small substation within your premises, and that takes a lot of cost. It's not only pure brick and mortar building which is there. And also it's normally when you compare the real estate is something like there is a standard plan and there's a standard build which is there which the developer makes. But here it is standard also, but it can be a bespoke, it can be tailor made, tailor suited to the needs of the customers. So there's a part, real estate is there, but it's part of it, and most of it is the managing the MEP infrastructure and all.
Okay. So one more thing, we are seeing the trend you mentioned in be it in computing or in networking or in storage to moving towards a software defined. So even we have the entire software defined data center, this concept. So do you foresee increasingly more software defined data center changing the paradigm for data center providers like you?
Sorry, Rajneesh, I missed you. I think patchy network from your end.
No, no. What I was mentioning is increasingly we have for computing or for networking or storage a shift towards a software-defined side. We even have software-defined data centers. So what my question was, this concept of software-defined data center, can it change the paradigm for data center providers like you?
So look, data center, of course, data center in whatever form and size it is, it was software defined, network defined. It will all boil down to some data which is stored at the back end in a data center which needs to be managed, right? There has to be a certain fixed building which manages data center, which provides the ambient temperature so that your servers and all which you have put in there does not conk off or power off is there. So you take it in any manner whatsoever. It's just that the digitization will ensure that you shift into the data center, and then once you shift, you can become more efficient, and that is all. That is what whole the industry is moving towards, right? It can take any shape and size. It can become more efficient. It's very difficult to tell now. There are many innovations which may be going on from as far as services from the data center is concerned. But everything boils down that you require space and power to run the data centers. It can be run by the operator itself, or if you want to run on your own, you just uh, provide the normal fees that you give. So that, of course, the shift has already started because digitization as digital economy is now booming, and hence everyone's talking about data centers.
So keeping that in mind, my last question is for the next few quarters, what are going to be your key focus areas?
So our key focus area will be investment. Like currently, we are in investment phase. We are developing in next, like I told, next 12 to 18 months we'll be focusing on developing data centers, acquiring land, developing already acquired land into a full-fledged data centers, and then pre-selling it to customers, and uh, bringing customers to our this core sites across cities like Mumbai, Noida, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai. So we are focusing next 1 to 2 years will be the investment phase, and we're focusing on these cities as of now. And thereafter, we look into more edge kind of solutions which we can provide to the customers. Or if some certain customers want to scale on the same data centers, we will also work on those. But next 1 to 2 years, 2.5 years will be all. It's like an investment cycle as of now.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for taking your time out. Really
Thanks.
appreciate it. It was a very interactive discussion.
Thanks. Thank
Thank you.
you.